Down by 2, now they're out of timeouts.
Down by 2, 1.3 left. Down 2, gets a shot off.
Down by 2.
Hi, hello. Another episode of the Down by 2 podcast. How's it going? It's your host, Josh Elijah, and my co-host, Jesse McKay, aka Birdman. That's what they call him. And then he goes, barra, barra, barra.
that was amazing. You started off hot, and then you lost steam there, and it sounded like you were melting, but you turned it into a song.
Yeah, yeah. No, I found a melody. I just wasn't sure what octave I was supposed to find, and I found one, and then I ended up just rolling with it.
It was beautiful.
I'm just gonna start singing into every intro.
Yeah, I like that.
How's it going?
We could just incorporate that with our intro song too.
Yeah, we totally could. Yeah, make
a
beat
full
out
on
of it.
rap.
How's your week going? Everything good?
It's good. Hectic week. Got a big drop at work, so organizing the rollout for that, and it's a lot of work that goes into these weekly drops. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. We're actually recording a little bit earlier in the week here. But yeah, no, definitely things get pretty hectic when there is a drop. And speaking of drops, there is something that we do want to be able to share with you guys, all of our listeners and viewers, and everyone across the Crier Media Network. But first, we got to go shout out our boys over at Crier Media, an amazing network to be a part of, man. Visit crier.co.
The boys.
For all things DB2 and sports related content. And then obviously, go check out some of those new drops over at Indestructible online, and use promo code down by 2. Oh, no, not that one.
That's Bodog.
That's Bodog. We'll get there later. Indestructible MFG. Use promo code down by 2 for 15% off your next order. But yeah, we got lots of exciting stuff coming up down the pipe. We've been talking about it. We've been alluding to it online. And one of the great things about being a part of the Crier Media Network is that they've been sending us out to a lot of amazing live events. Whether or not it be the Honda Indy, all of our CFL coverage that we've been doing with the Argos. Shout out to our boy Griff as well. Again, hooking that up. A lot of great stuff coming in down the pipe. But we don't want to stop there. We want to be able to give our listeners and our viewers as much exclusive coverage as possible, and be able to just expand our network and our just the way our show is growing as well, and give people an inside view on certain things. And as you know, listening to the show, that we are huge. I mean, to say that we're big basketball fans is a bit of an understatement. I mean, like, we fucking live and breathe ball. We love our Toronto Raptors, but we are all across the league. I mean, anything to do with basketball, we are on it. We cover all 30 teams across the league, and really looking for an opportunity to be able to expand that. Well, we found our opportunity, and it is my distinct pleasure and honor. I am so fucking excited for this. But we, the boys at Down by 2 and at Crier Media, have been approved to actually go cover the Orlando Magic live on scene on location in Orlando this coming season for the 2023-2024 regular season. Boom, there's the schedule. There it is, my man. The Orlando freaking Magic. We are going to be down at Amway Center all season long. Those are our games. Man, really excited to be doing
crazy.
This.
The boys even locked in a back-to-back. How crazy is that?
A back-to-back, man. A back-to-back. You know what? It's absolutely nuts to be able to have this opportunity. And so again, shout out to Crier Media for making things possible and being able to facilitate something like this as well. It's literally a dream come true. This is a dream come true to be able to go cover not only the Orlando Magic, which are a very young, exciting team that I am super pumped for. I mean, like when you have pieces like Wagner and Rookie of the Year, Paulo Banchero as well. I mean, like they're a young, exciting squad with a lot to be pumped for if you're a Magic fan, and we are excited to be able to dedicate our time and efforts towards giving you exclusive coverage with the Orlando Magic. And not only that, but if you look at this schedule, we have carefully crafted this one as well.
Oh yeah.
Because there are teams that have a connection with the Raptors. Not only to mention the Toronto freaking Raptors, we're going to be down there covering them as well. Our
Unreal.
our team. But yeah, we carefully selected these games. 76ers obviously with the connection, with Nick Nurse and then Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, Raptors obviously, and then the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, and the Grizzlies, just for fun. Having I guess formerly being a Canadian team as well. I guess that's our loose connection, but these are 5 games that we have circled, and we're beyond blessed to be able to go down and give you exclusive coverage throughout the 2023-2024 season. Jesse, we made it, man.
We're Florida boys now, bro.
We're Florida boys. We are snowbirds. We are
yeah.
heading down there January, February, and March. This is quite literally a dream come true. And you know what, man? I wouldn't rather do it with anyone else in the world, man. So cheers to you, my man.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, man. We made it. We made it. And to say that, making it to this point after, like, once we first started this podcast, and if you were to tell us in 2 to 3 years that we'd be down covering the NBA live from the press box, in the locker rooms, player interviews, all of that kind of stuff, post game pressers. I mean, I never thought that this would have happened, but it did. We worked hard, and here we are.
It's so crazy. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's pretty surreal, man. Like, just this whole project was just for fun, and now it's very, very serious and even more fun.
Exactly. I mean, this is the dream. This is the dream come true for us, and for anyone out there who's just been thinking about, hey, I want to be able to pursue my passion, pursue my dreams, just do it. Because I mean, we started off as just a couple boys talking about sports with our boy Mike as well, and just whatever sort of rants and shitty takes that we had, and put that together, and the next thing you know, just it amounted to so much more. So we're beyond blessed to be able to go down and cover the Orlando Magic. We've been in talks with their media coordinators, and it's just a great team to be a part of as well, and to give you guys the best coverage that we possibly can. We're going to be putting out some amazing content, and the reason why we also chose the Orlando Magic as well is that they are going to have an effect on the entire Eastern Conference. So whether or not it's the Raptors directly or the Eastern Conference landscape as a whole,
Yeah, they're a team to look out for this year.
they are a team to look out for. They are absolutely a team to look out for. They're a team to be reckoned with. They got some young pieces. They had the 6th and the 11th pick in the draft, so they got some young talent. And not to forget that Jalen Suggs ended up going to the Magic as opposed to someone like Scotty Barnes. We took Scotty Barnes a place over Jalen Suggs, and both of these teams have back-to-back rookies of the year. So very, very young, exciting teams with some promise as well. Raptors, as you'll be able to gather, in the second half of this episode, as we had Steve Dangle Podcast Network NBA reporter himself, Baraheni, on the show. Very, very knowledgeable dude when it comes to the game all around itself. So the Raptors are in kind of murky waters with not really a clear direction. The direction for the Orlando Magic is just upwards. There's a whole lot of hype around this team, and just don't sleep on them. I've been catching some flack online about putting my thoughts out there. Don't sleep on the Magic, and some people maybe, but we're not. We're really, really excited for the direction of this team and everything that's to come this year. I really hope that they can make it into like a play-in situation where we can go down and cover a play-in game, because that would be the overall goal there.
That would be unreal. This is honestly like the best time to be a fan of a franchise, is the position they're in right now. It's
Absolutely.
literally like the best times, because if they if they don't do as well as maybe you would have expected, it's okay, right? Like
Hmm.
you're not trying to win the title just yet. It's all about growth and development and all of the exciting moments that your young players are going to provide, right? And
Absolutely.
there's just so much optimism and everything. It's just that those are the days that you miss when you get to the dark days when you're rebuilding, right? Kind of,
Absolutely, man.
or the murky middle ground that the
Exactly. And
Raptors are experiencing right now, right?
there's
So,
a lot of that going on in the Eastern Conference, and with the Magic, I mean, it's just an upward trajectory. I mean, to see that exciting play that you're getting from Markel Fultz as well when healthy, I mean, like, dude,
oh,
that,
it's such
that
a
he's
great
been
story
making
in and itself.
exactly, man. It's just been such a crazy up and down career for him. And then to be able to find his home here in Orlando and be productive. Like their record when he was healthy last year was phenomenal.
Mhm.
So I mean, to have pieces like him, and you have Gary Harris, we're definitely going to have to break down exactly, what our thoughts are on the Magic and dissect this roster in later episodes. But just wanted to be able to touch base on just how exciting this squad really is. I mean, Jonathan Isaac is back,
Yeah, that's
right?
right.
Like
That's right. We're gonna
he's
get a
back.
full healthy season. I mean, hopefully, of
Hopefully, I
Jonathan
mean,
Isaac.
yeah, man. So it's just there's so much to dissect with this team, and we're gonna be all over it. Obviously, we're gonna be giving our coverage with the Raptors. And we got some exciting news also as well coming up for the Raptors, but we'll stay tuned for that as well. But for this, I mean, being able to go down January 19th, covering the Philadelphia 76ers. We're gonna be on the streets, man. We're gonna be doing some interviews with fans and getting their thoughts on the squads and some of the visiting teams as well. The Bulls, obviously, it's sort of that murky middle ground as well with the Raptors, and what the direction of that team is. Are you looking to add pieces, or are you looking to blow that up? As the season progresses, we'll just have to see, the direction that team takes. Raptors, obviously, it's going to be that's the big one that we had circled on our calendar. The Clippers and the Grizzlies really just sort of fell into our laps as Easter weekend games to be able to go cover. And we're very, very fortunate to have this opportunity. So uh, we'll keep you posted with everything that's coming on down the pipe when it comes to that, and you'll be hearing from us. We'll be doing a lot of coverage when it comes to the Magic. So. Yeah, man, buddy, so proud of you, man. So proud of you for
Yeah, man. Proud of you
getting
too.
us to this point too, and yeah, man, just a lot of exciting stuff around here at DB2. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Just really, really pumped for this season.
If you see us decked out in Magic merch, don't be alarmed. We still love our Raptors, but
Yeah,
we
we
gotta
love our
show some
Raptors.
love to the Magic as well. We
I
gotta
mean,
get
this
some jerseys and literally whatever else I can find.
some new swag, man. You're
Like,
already you're
hello?
already repping, my guy. You're already repping.
And it's so
Like,
funny because I actually bought this like 2 weeks before we found out that we were gonna be able to do this, and it
mhm.
was just a sign, man. I just bought it because I was like, oh, it's like super.
it
It's original vintage. I'm pretty sure it's from the year they came into the league.
It's the Magic,
It's
man.
just
I
like,
mean, like when you think of all the teams, like they've had some incredible
oh,
like
the history
rosters.
is nuts.
I mean, from drafting Shaquille O'Neal, and then like we have a lot of history between the Raptors and the Magic. I mean, that's where um Tracy McGrady ended up leaving the Raptors to go to as well. Vince Carter ended up in Orlando after making a stop in New Jersey. But like, there's been a lot of
Penny
back and forth.
Hardaway,
Penny Hardaway. I mean, just some
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 legends, man.
some absolute legends. I mean, we ended up with Hito Turkoglu as well. I mean, they love Hito down there.
Terrence
Um,
Ross.
Terrence Ross, man, and the Serge Ibaka trade. Like, there's a lot of history between these franchises, and it's a team that I've always liked, and we took a liking to them as well. And there was a reason why we picked the Magic, and it's because they're just such an exciting team. And getting the email and getting the letter from the NBA as well, just when it comes to our approval for the credentials. It's completely surreal. It really is. So I'm very, very excited for what's to come this season, and what's to come in the future as well.
Yep. Same. And like the fact that like Orlando is going to be a second home for us. We're going to get
Yeah.
to know the city It's just so crazy, man.
It is, man. It is.
I
And
can't
it's
wait to
just,
spend time down there with you, man. It's
yeah.
gonna be
Oh,
so much
dude.
fun.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be a time, man. It's gonna be a time. If you're watching this and you are a Magic fan, if you're in the city, show us around. Show us what's good in the O. Okay, we are ready to go. We'll be down there a lot this winter. So please hit us up, and we'll be sure to bring you down a couple Yup beers. Visit yupbeer.com to find a location near you. Uh,
Yeah,
now
let's
available
go.
in in grocery stores and beer stores across
Even
Ontario.
Magic colors, kind of.
Yeah, look at that, the magic blue, the magic blue. Yeah, man, it's surreal. But let's get into our next segment here when it comes to DB2 bets, brought to you by Bodog. Visit that link over there, link in our bio, links plastered everywhere to be able to get a 100% sign up bonus when you create a new account with Bodog. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. You throw $100 in, they give you another $100. It's that simple. So click that link, scan that QR code, do what you got to do, create that account, and get that sweet sign up bonus. Checking the odds over on Bodog, just looking at season totals when it comes to the Raptors. We do this every year. Last year we were off. We were off with the Raptors when it comes to their season totals. They definitely went way under as well. But we've got some new season totals for wins over under, and we're here to break those down a little bit. And we decided to go with both overs for the Toronto Raptors, as they are listed at -110 for the odds to hit over
It's
36 and a
insanely
half
low.
wins. What does that tell you, Jesse? What does that tell you when Vegas has these odds set at 36 and a half wins for the
They're
Raptors? When last year, I believe they were at 46?
So last year I got them at 44 on some sports
44.
books,
Yeah.
and I can't remember where it was, but one of them was 46 for sure.
One of them was
But
46.
but man, I mean, finishing 41 wins, like I don't see them taking that much of a step back. Like 36,
That's 10,
that's
10
not.
more losses.
It's just like it's too low, man, with the talent they have on that roster. Like I understand that the Eastern Conference got a lot better, but like
I would beg to
it's
differ.
that's
The
that's like a
Eastern
lottery
Conference
team right there.
didn't get that much better because when you take the
Really?
Bucks,
You think so?
no. When you take the Bucks and you take the Celtics, those two teams absolutely got a lot better. But like aside from that, it's really kind of anyone's games. I mean, are you really scared by Philly? Like I don't even know what's going on in
No.
Philadelphia. And then it's just like, then who? Like I guess you got the Knicks, right? And you got the Cavs, but like
Yeah. But like
still.
so the way I look at it is who is going to be competitive every night? And I think almost every team except for Detroit is going to be competitive
Charlotte. I
every
mean,
single night.
yeah,
Maybe Charlotte. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like there's like what, two teams in the whole Eastern Conference where it's like, okay, that should be an automatic dub. No offense to those franchises, but and like you just said, like the Magic, nice young up and coming squad. You can't just walk into their building and assume you're gonna walk away with a win. You gotta show up. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's why I just think like the whole Eastern Conference, even the Western Conference, really, like I think most teams improved to the point where like no one's really gonna be bottoming out. You know what
No,
I mean?
no. I mean, yeah, unless you're the Wizards. But I mean, like, there's there's a lot of uncertainty, and then in that gigantic middle chunk of teams. I mean, you don't really know. I mean, like you could see maybe the Indiana Pacers taking another step forward. You could
Yep.
see just a lot of these teams that are middle ground type teams. Like who knows what the Miami Heat are going to look like this year. It really is anyone's game. But to say that the Raptors are going to lose 10 more games than they did last year because Fred's gone, I don't think so. I think I like it's a bit baffling to me, and we definitely have some new pieces, and we're definitely going to get into that with S Baraheni as well. But Yeah, when it comes to 36.5 wins, that's just too low. Give me the over on that, -110. Again, odds are over at Bodog.
I think the problem with last year too is we were so high on them from the year prior to that, where they
Where they
won
might have
48
overachieved
games.
a little bit.
It's definitely an overachieving season, right?
Mhm.
So we're higher on them last year than maybe we should have been. But again, 44, 46 wins last year compared to 36 this year. It's too much of a drop.
So scan that QR code, open up a new account, throw $100 in. They're going to give you $200 to play.
And throw 200 down on that one.
Throw it over on the Raptors over
win.
36.5. I mean, it's kind of disrespectful, to be completely honest. They should
It is.
easily get more than that. I mean, like, if it's 38, that's going to be a pretty disappointing season for the Raptors. But like, then again, like 36.5 is just too low.
Yeah.
Guess who else they have at 36.5 wins?
Oh,
It's our Orlando
shocking.
Magic, 36.5 wins. We're taking that on the over again. This one, the odds are -145. So they're thinking that this one's a little bit more likely to hit the over 36.5. Guys, I mean, I don't see, like, 36 is just too low. Last year they were 38. So what, they're going to take another step back? Like, I don't understand. Like, why they've got new draft capital. I mean, I definitely think that that Anthony Black is going to be more of a part of the squad than someone like Jet Howard. They might ease him in a little bit easier than Anthony Black. I mean, Anthony Black, I think, was going to get some more playing time. If players are staying healthy, I mean, you got Jonathan Isaac that's back too. Wendell Carter Jr., I love him at center. And then expect, Wagner and Banchero to take other steps forward. I mean, like, look, I don't know what could be stopping Banchero from making the All-Star team this year. Like, there's a lot to be excited about when it comes to this Magic squad. And Markelle Fultz, if he can stay healthy, and Jalen Suggs maybe breaks out of that sophomore slump. I mean, he's kind of been up and down a little bit, but I mean, there's definitely a lot more to be excited than 36.5 wins. I definitely see him pushing upwards to, let's say, let's try and make it at the 500 mark. I mean, like 36.5, I think, is a bit low for these Magic. What do you think?
I think 500 is a pretty safe spot to go for. You're also forgetting guys like Cole Anthony, like
Who just
these
signed a
guys who are
ticket, man?
just staples on this roster for the last few years, and they
Mhm.
put up numbers, man. Like they've got a good squad. They just gotta I feel like they just gotta organize it and get everything cohesive as a unit, and that's part of the learning process when you're like 20 years old, 21, right?
Absolutely.
And dude, that's just the next logical step for these guys. Like the pieces are there, and like you said, they just hit in the lottery again with 2 lottery picks. So like just wait till those guys are integrated. It's like nothing but excitement for this team, man.
Yeah.
And I don't see how you take a step back when you have all that going for you.
They definitely have to, work on their shooting. They're not a good shooting team. Neither are the Raptors as well. It's the one thing that the both of our squads have to take accountability for and improve on. So, that aside, I mean, we're going to be down there and we're going to be watching these players develop as well, which is going to be super exciting, and building relationships with these players as a part of the media. So, really, really excited. Hit that over though. I mean, Magic fans, come on. Create that Bodog account. All you got to do is hit that sweet sign up bonus. Where's that promo code again? Boom. There it is. Scan that QR code, click the link, do what you got to do, but create that free account and use Bodog to get your free sign up bonus 100% down on 100% of the money that you put in. So doubling down on that. That's what we got for our bets today for the season, mind you. But other than that, we had good pal, and excited to have S on this show from the Steve Dangle podcast network as well. Just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to just the league in general, sports in general, but man, when it comes to basketball, he knows his stuff, and it was great to have him on the show.
Yeah, and super nice guy.
Yeah.
Honestly, he should just take my spot on the show. I feel like
No, man.
he is so good at basketball, man. Oh, so much knowledge.
We'll
I
definitely be
love it.
having him on throughout the course of the season, but here he is. Give it up for S. Baraheni on the Down by Two podcast. Alrighty, really stoked to have this next guest on the show. I've had a chance to jump on shows with him in the past as well. It's been a while in the making, and super stoked to be able to have him on, formerly TSN, Raptors Republic, and The Score. Now currently with the Steve Dangle Podcast Network. It's S. Baraheni. Did I say that right, Baraheni?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you
Okay.
killed it, man.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I know you go by S, but I'll take a stab at saying your full name. Is it Esfandier?
It's Fandiar, but yeah, you got it.
Esfandiar.
Yeah.
Okay, cool,
It's
man.
honestly,
Cool, man.
you know, a lot of people see it and they're intimidated by the name, but it really is as phonetic as you possibly can get when it comes to it. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we'll stick with S. It's all
Yeah,
good. We'll stick with S. I remember Jesse last time we were on our boy Freddie Reeves' show, Confederacy of Dunks. Amazing show. Go check it out on Raptors Republic as well. My screen name was Jish when I came up because that's just my
Oh,
nickname.
and that means
yeah. It was my nickname, and the way the nickname came across was just like because it was a typo in a text message once, and because the O is close to the I on the keyboard, so I just ended up being called Jish for quite some time, and it just kind of stuck. And then S, what were you saying? That was where you're from. It means something completely different.
So Jish in Farsi, which is Iranian, it means piss. It means piss. It 100% just means
yes.
Yeah, exactly. If you ever hear a Persian person say, "Yeah, I'm gonna go Jish," that means
take the Jish out of you.
exactly.
Oh man, but that's that was funny. It's been it's good to catch up with you here, man. It's been a while. We've been looking forward to having you on the show, and there's no better time right now as we're finally into the first week of the NBA regular season. We're gonna try and stay on track as much as we can, but to start off with, for some of our viewers and listeners that are tuning in for the first time and hearing you as well, just give us a little bit of background because first of all, again, congratulations joining the Dangle Network as well. And you got quite the resume, man. How did we get to this point and here today?
Man, just love basketball. Been kind of following it. I to be honest with you, I had a pretty unconventional path. I think a lot of people that get into this type of stuff have unconventional paths to get here. Tried a bunch of different things in school, went to business school, went to law school, didn't really like either, was good at it, but didn't really want to like commit to one of those things. Had been doing this type of stuff on the side as something to sort of be good at, I guess, if you will. But ultimately, I don't know. It just at some point I was like, hey, if you're going to be able to do this, if you're willing to do it for free, you might as well get paid for it. And I started to focus more on it. And here we are, went to school for it. And, you know,
Boom.
all those things that you mentioned at the top. Yeah, that's pretty much the experience that we got. And now we're here, man.
Yeah, man. No, that's great. And that's, kind of the same for us. Hey, Jesse.
Yeah. This was just a passion project during COVID. It was like, we have literally nothing else to do. Let's just hop on, not even FaceTime. Let's just hop on a Zoom chat and shoot the shit about basketball and hockey and whatever. And I don't know. It ended up being way more fun than I expected.
I mean, when you spend that much time, you're absolutely right. If you're spending that much time doing it, you might as well get paid for it. And so that's sweet. And we've been wanting to have you on as well. You're just such a wealth when it comes to basketball knowledge all around. We'll try and keep things as Raptor centric as possible. Probably touch a little bit on the Magic as well. But starting off with the Raptors, we haven't been doing much coverage since the draft and since free agency as well. Give us some of your thoughts on the Raptors' choices and some of the moves that they made when it comes to, not only the draft, but, some of the acquisitions and saying farewell to some of our players and, what this offseason kind of looked like. And how do you think that they fared?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you ask most people, they'll say this offseason was a tough one. It feels like they've been in transition for the last couple of years, from the Kyle Lowry quote unquote era to this new generation, and then maybe with the up and coming Scotty Barnes, there's sort of a new era that's peeking its head out and maybe potentially coming as well. So I think ultimately this phase is one of transition. And this summer, it was a lot of transition, obviously losing Fred VanVleet. That's going to be a huge part of this season, how they're going to look in general. And I think ultimately when you add Dennis Schroeder, who's not the talent that Van Vliet is, some people say it's like a panic signing. I don't want to go that far, but like, yeah, they had to scramble to find a point guard. They found a point guard in Schroeder. They drafted Gradey Dick, who, for all intents and purposes is a shooter, a guy who fits what this team needs in terms of floor spacing, in terms of a guy who can work well next to Scotty Barnes eventually. And I think that's where they're at. It's like, hey, we're in a position where we have to transition into a new phase, be it with Scotty, obviously having this new head coach in Darko Rajakovic. How are they going to get to that next level? We got to wait and see. And then, there's obviously the Pascal Siakam of it all, his unrestricted free agency coming up. What happens? Does he get traded? Does he get extended, et cetera, et cetera? I think these are the things that, if you want the quote unquote storylines to look for this season for the Raptors.
I mean, you touched on Gradey Dick there as well, and I mean, Bird, we talk about this quite often as well. I mean, you covered Gradey quite extensively, and that's the guy that you wanted as well. But what do you think about how he's going to fit in? And I mean, what are your thoughts on Gradey here?
I mean, like, I liked it when they picked him just strictly because like we kind of have a history of not going with the most logical choice for team need, and then we finally did it, and it felt like, I don't know, it just felt so different. But I don't know, I just feel like maybe there's too much hype, maybe too much expectation put on him as a 13th overall pick. Like how do you feel about that? Like, do you think
do you feel
what do you expect from him this year?
I don't expect much from him this season, to be honest with you. I think the type of player he is one that's complementary. And, maybe there's some potential there for him to eventually become like an elite shooter, like a guy who can get his own off of like 5 or less dribbles, Klay Thompson-esque type. Maybe there is that potential there at some point, but we're not even close to that right now. And I think ultimately, I'm not expecting much from him this season. I think from what we've seen, from what we've heard from Darko Rajakovic and kind of the rest of the staff, it seems like they're going to transition him in really slowly. I would be shocked if he's in the rotation to start the year. I think, maybe there are some moves towards halfway through the season and he gets slotted into the rotation for the second half of the year. That's something I can see happening more than him just being thrusted into the fire, if you will. I don't know. I don't have much expectations for this season, but I do think people are right to be hyped or excited about who he is because he pairs really well with guys like Scotty, with guys like Pascal. It's just like this team is so deprived of shooting that any type of shooting will be, it's like finding water in the
literally
desert.
Anything.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like there is just a little bit too much hype over Gradey Dick. Like, he's in Drake videos now. Like, it's getting a little out of hand, and it's all happening too quick.
Don't
like,
talk
it's just
to my man like that.
I know it was kind of sick though, but
yeah, sure. I mean, like, it was bound to happen. I just didn't think it was going to be before the start of the regular season. But I mean. It's, it is funny when you're just talking about this makeup, and we definitely needed a Gradey Dick-esque type player. Like, we need someone to be able to space the floor, and it seems like the Raptors and Masai has done everything in his power to surround these players with non-shooters. Like, I don't really understand, especially when you look at signing somebody like Jakob Poeltl. Who really can't space the floor, maybe at the top of the key, but you're not getting any sort of shots out of him as a big man. And then you look at some of the other signings that we have as well, like Dennis Schroeder. We're not talking about hitting the panic button with him, but he's definitely not someone that
he's not shooting the ball for you. Yeah,
no, he's not. And then even as of recently, Justice Winslow. I mean, like, damn, can you get any other non-shooters on this squad? Like, I'm a little confused as to what the direction is and what the idea is here, because I mean, aside from Gradey Dick, there really hasn't been much, floor spacing. I mean, hopefully if you get Porter Jr., Otto Porter, if he can, stay healthy, then maybe he might be able to have some sort of an effect. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that direction?
Brother, you were preaching to the choir. I
Okay.
just, I mean, I think a lot of people share this sentiment in the sense that the roster construction does leave you one, it leaves a lot to be desired, but also it leaves you a little confused at what the hell the direction is going to be for this team moving forward. And I think, like I said earlier, it is a bit of a transition. You know, these things kind of, they're slower than we like to expect. They take their time. The Raptors especially are so much more patient than, you know, people kind of want them to be. It bites them in the back a lot of times. You think of the Fred VanVleet situation, you think of the Kyle Lowry situation. Maybe they were too patient in those situations. They probably will be a little too patient in the Pascal situation as well. But I just think they are so committed to, and there's a lot of factors to this. Like there's the fact that Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment is up for sale. The fact that there is, you know, this kind of idea that they still need to be competitive and that they need to win because they don't have picks that are available to them. Their pick this year is out the door. I think some of that is factoring into their decision making, where it's like we have to somehow, some way field a winning team. We can't go in that direction just yet. So it, like I said, it's a bit of a transition into whatever this murky phase is before you get to the Scotty Barnes era with him and Gradey and whoever else is going to be included into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little worrisome because I mean, you don't have to look much further than media day to really just kind of see, you know, even in Pascal Siakam's body language and just the way everyone's just sort of caring about this season. It just doesn't seem like players are as excited as they normally would be, and just because I think there is just a lack of direction even within, you know, the locker room, as opposed to just what fans are being left with. It is a little concerning, is it not? I don't know. I mean, we don't have time for a transition phase. I mean, it's coming, but I just don't know if that's, you know, what Raptors fans are really looking for. Obviously,
yeah, I know. I mean, I think like if you wanted to have one thing to kind of hang your hat on this year is from what we've seen and from what they're trying to do with Darko, with the new coaching style, the scheme, etc. They're putting the ball in Scotty Barnes' hands more often. That is their emphasis, is trying to develop this guy as much as possible. And I think long term, that is obviously the right call. He is the guy that they are hanging their hat on in terms of this future, right? And ultimately, I think that is the right call. So if you wanted to have anything to be excited about for the Raptors this season, it's the fact that you're going to try to see Scotty Barnes experiment as much as possible. And through the preseason, through the 4 games that we've seen so far, there have been a lot of things to be impressed about with Scotty. That makes you think like, oh, hey, maybe the year 2 was sort of a sophomore bump or wall, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And year 3 is the year that many are expecting to be the breakout, but who knows, right?
You touched on Darko as well, and I mean, I'm very excited to see what our new coach brings in. What are some of your thoughts on the direction that he's actually going to take this team as well? Some of his new coaching styles, and how do you think, you know, some of these players are going to either favor or maybe hinder as the season progresses?
Okay, so his style is 0.5 basketball, right?
Yeah.
And 0.5 basketball is it's essentially asking you in 0.5 seconds or less to make a decision, whether it is passing, whether it is shooting, whether it is driving the ball, or doing something else with it. You have to make quick decisions. That means the Raptors are moving away from their isolation style that has dominated the team over the last 2 seasons. That might hinder a Pascal Siakam, who was one of the best isolation scorers in the league over the last couple of years. That probably impacts a Scotty Barnes a little bit, who was a high frequency isolation player, but I don't think it necessarily negatively impacts them. And when you talk about coaching style, a lot of it has to do with the buy-in of the players. If these guys are willing to play the game and play the game the way the coach wants them to, then there is going to be, like, at least there's a honeymoon phase right now, right? In the preseason, everybody's giving the good answers. Everybody's saying, oh, we love it here. We love doing this new system, new style. But 20, 30 games in, when you see you're not getting the shots that you necessarily do, when you see that you're not necessarily getting the touches that you usually do, then there's a conversation to be had about how this style is being adopted. But early on, so far, the guys seem committed. The guys seem like they're ready to play this style. I think it, you know, idealistically, it benefits them because they're a bunch of long, rangy, athletic guys who can sort of feast in this movement type of offense.
Yes.
But ultimately, like, you got to see if these guys are willing to do it for a long period of time.
You're absolutely right. I think it would definitely favor them a little bit more than ISO ball as well, because when your roster is constructed around these 6'8" forwards, lanky guys, I mean, you're thinking that that the ISO ball, I'm not sure is exactly what you might have thought that would work best for them.
Yeah.
But then, so yeah, I'm definitely excited about this. We'll see after they drop 6 of 8 on the road, on a road trip out west. So I
Exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's
It'll be, well, yeah, you got to see like in December when they lose 5 in a row to whatever team, like
Mhm.
how is the team going to respond then, right? Is the ball movement still going to be the same as it was in game 1 that we're going to see next, in the couple of days? That's the kind of question you got to have to yourself, is like, long term, are these guys going to buy into this system?
Yeah.
And then overall, is this system something that some of these guys are even willing to do right now? So we'll see.
Because if it doesn't work, then the Raptors could very easily become sellers again at the deadline, which I feel like last year wasn't obviously the direction that they took, but this year, come the trade deadline, if they're not in position to win and actually make a bit of a surge when it comes to
Mhm.
the rankings into the playoffs, and maybe get over that, over the 7th seed, so they don't have to be a part of the play-in, because that's where ideally they would like to be. If they if it doesn't work, I mean, are they going to be big sellers at the deadline? Do you think that this would be the year? Because there's a lot of questions when it comes to contracts.
I think the one guy that they'd be sellers for is Pascal. I know there's been discussions about OG, but I really do think he's a long-term part of this team. He wasn't ever going to sign that extension this summer. It just doesn't make sense for him. He's going to make more money this upcoming summer.
Yeah.
So I do think he's a long-term part of this team. He also fits very well next to Scotty Barnes, and he kind of has similar traits to like the Gradey Dicks and Gary Trent Juniors of the world in
Mhm.
terms of being a good shooter, wing player, complimentary guy. I I think OG stays put. There's still other guys out there that have question marks on them. Obviously, Pascal is number one. I think the discussion around Pascal this year is going to be exhausting
Yeah.
because they're every week it's going to be, hey, where's this guy's contract extension? How much money?
Yeah.
So that'll be a question. Same thing applies to Gary Trent Jr. Although maybe with this new style, he kind of outplays what he did over the last couple of seasons, and he looks much
Mhm.
better. But yeah, ultimately, man, I think it's those two guys that you're going to be watching for and saying, hey, maybe they're sellers. Maybe they move off of Gary Trent Jr. or Pascal at some point.
Absolutely. We'll transition a little bit over here to another not very good shooting team, but as we mentioned earlier in the episode, we are got our credentials from the NBA and covering the Orlando Magic throughout the 2023-2024 season. An exciting young squad, and we're definitely pumped to be covering them. What are some of your thoughts on this young look team? I mean, with some exciting pieces,
Yeah.
they had the 6th and the 11th pick in the draft, going with Anthony Black and Jet Howard as well. Old Juwan Howard's son. I mean, a lot of people were saying that they picked him a little bit too early, with other players that were on the board. But yeah, two players as well that aren't really the greatest shooters, and all around, I mean, there's question marks when it comes to shooting with this team.
Yeah.
But how do you see them faring? Do you see them doing well this year and making maybe a run for that play-in tournament?
Yes, I could see them making a run. Will they actually get there? I would be skeptical. I think when you look at that like kind of muddy part of the Eastern Conference,
Yeah,
there's Atlanta, there's Chicago, there's Toronto, there's Brooklyn, there's Indiana, and
Indiana. Yeah,
Orlando as well is a part of this group. And that's 6 teams. There's only 4 spots in that play-in race. I'm not even including, some of the like mid-tier, like of Philly and New York, maybe teams that like there's some question marks around what they might do. Anyways, regardless,
yeah,
I
of
like
course.
there's a murkiness to that middle of the East. And Orlando, obviously, if you took a poll, I think people would say has the brightest future of
Mhm.
that murkiness. But right now, they're probably a little ahead of schedule. You have Paulo Banchero, who looks like a star. You have Franz Wagner, who looks like a star. In that, you have your core. In that, you have the foundation in which you're building from.
Yeah,
And then on top of that, you have these complementary players that you sort of got to see how they fit. Last
right.
year, I think Markel Fultz was absolutely amazing for this team. They played
Yes.
500 basketball with him in the lineup. He was just enigmatic. I've talked about it before, but he kind of
Mhm.
plays basketball like a slinky, like he just kind of
Yeah,
bounces back and
very
forth
crafty.
from.
Yeah.
He's very, very crafty. I love Markel's game. They have Jalen Suggs. Maybe he's a breakout candidate this year.
Yeah.
He's had a tipsy turvy kind of 2 years in the league, but maybe his 3-point shot develops. He's a great defender. I kind of liken him to like a new age version of Marcus Smart. Maybe he gets to that point at some point in his career with his offense.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a lot of great pieces. They have a lot of guys to be excited about. And like if you're comparing the Raptors and Magic, there's a lot more to be excited about on Orlando's front just because they're the bright, shiny new toy of the NBA. You know what I mean? And yeah, there's a good to being in that position as a franchise.
I mean, they both franchises had the rookie of the year back to back. So, I mean, or they had, Orlando just had them, and then Scotty Barnes over with the Raptors as well. Bodog actually has them both at 36.5 for the win total. Do you see both of these teams achieving over, or are they hitting under?
Yeah. So what did Orlando win last year? Let me see again. Let me see what they won. Because they were like 29-28 with Fultz in the lineup once he came back. Because I remember that from my preview. Let me see.
We should probably know this if we're going to be covering them.
Yeah.
I think they won
around 40.
They won 34 games last year. And if they're 36.5, I think I'd go over. I think I'd go pretty, I'm not comfortably over. I think they probably win around 36, 37, 38 games. I'm pretty confident the Raptors go over in that. I think they probably win 40 games, 41 games, maybe 42 games. I mean, if there's a really good season, I could see if it's a really impressive season, I could see 43, 44 games, whatever. But ultimately, I do think both those teams go over. Yeah.
Absolutely. Funny enough as well, I mean, we've seen a bit of slander coming from Patrick Beverley over social media over the last few days. Starting off with Orlando as well, just calling when it comes to Wagner and Banchero, Wagner being put 52nd on that list there, and then and Banchero who? Yeah, and then Banchero who? Nobody, just the reigning rookie of the year. And then obviously there's as of today, he's just saying that players like Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby just don't intimidate him. You wouldn't be scared of these players if he runs into him in an alley, which I don't know why he's fighting anyways. I mean, it's Patrick Beverley, and I'm all around like he's just an annoying guy. Any thoughts? Any sort of validity to what he's saying here?
I would just say that Patrick Beverley is clearly trying to get some views for his podcast.
Sure.
It's probably struggling a little bit, and he needs some generate. And that's it.
He's trying to generate some clout.
Just a little bit of clips here and there. He probably sent the clips himself to NBA Central. You know what I mean? Like, I ultimately nothing that him and Kendrick Perkins are two guys where it's like you can't take anything they say with any real validity.
Seriously.
So yeah, I mean, to say who to Paolo Banchero, who was literally on Team USA and just won Rookie of the Year, that just goes to show you he's not doing this for real. He's just doing it to get some interaction.
Yeah, no kidding. And I mean, like, it'll be interesting to see. I believe the 76ers are playing the Raptors coming up very soon. So.
Saturday, baby.
Yeah. So I mean, let's see how that shakes out. I mean, it's Patrick Beverley. He's played for like 14 teams or something like that. Like it's, or I'm losing count. But I mean, yeah, it's all around. I mean, it's gonna be exciting. I just found it funny that those are the two teams that we're gonna be covering pretty closely this year. So one more time, S. Baraheni, man, thank you so much for jumping on the show. What is coming up? What can we be excited to follow you and catch you on as well?
Yeah, I just wrote an article on Chet Holmgren, the Oklahoma City Thunder, another exciting, really exciting young team. Just went in depth on him and his defense and kind of talking to SGA and Lou Dort on what he might impact that team. Go and check that out on sdpn.com or .ca. Can't even remember. But anyways, regardless, YouTube, SDPN Sports as well, Twitter at Just S Baraheni. Do all those things. Appreciate you guys for having me on, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, my man. And make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're gonna be coming back with more Raptors and more Leafs coverage coming up next week. For Josh Elijah and Jesse McKay. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Have a great week.